I cannot believe Mob just got his Sekai'd. I mean, he just got hit by a truck. Like, he legit, like, seriously, I'll show you. He legit got hit by a freaking truck. And it's like, this is the start of an isekai. This is legitimately how storylines for isekai start. You have a character that gets hit by a truck. I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like, half of me is emotional because this is a very sad scene, like legitimately seeing this scene with Mob just bleeding out here and all that, and I'm certain he's gonna be okay, but it's a very sad scene, and it's emotional because of just everything what this episode kind of builds up towards. But on the other side of me, I'm just, like, amused and laughing inside, because it's like, this man just got hit by Truck-kun, which is basically, like, the main villain of almost any isekai story, because comes in, causes the character to go to a completely different world. That's literally what happened here, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I legitimately would laugh so hard if, like, one, the offer of, you know, Mob Psycho actually decided to go through with it and, like, make a complete spin-off or something with Mob getting a Sekai. That would be actually freaking hilarious if that happened. But, anyways, let's get into the actual, you know, the main stuff of what this episode is. With this conclusion, it's very clear that it's almost time to say goodbye to Mob Psycho 100. We are very, very, very close to the conclusion. And it's honestly just a sad feeling, because, like, this series has been coming out for, like, years now. Like, 2019, 2018, or whatever. It's been a long time, basically. Like, you know, with Season 1 to Season 2 and Season 3. And seeing that we're having scenes like this, with, like, this whole episode is literally about Mob trying to confess to Takane. You know, be able to confess to her that he loves her, etc., and put it in his own words. This is a moment that's technically been built up since the very beginning of the story. And even though this doesn't sound like anything grand, nothing crazy like what happened a few episodes back with Dimple, this is a very big moment for the story. Because when you have moments like this within a story, moments that are tying up these loose ends, it basically lets us know that the story is about to conclude. And we all knew going into Season 3 of Mob Psycho 100 that this is the finale. This is the final season of the story. Season 3 will conclude the entirety of Mob Psycho, and there will not be a Season 4. At least from my knowledge, unless there's spin-off chapters or something that has been written by one himself. But for right now, this is the finale. And you can 100% feel by the way this episode is done that it's about to end. Everything about this, to Mob's character development and characterization, to everybody that's there to support him, given their own, you know, interpretation of what he should do, and then Mob realizing that maybe he didn't really need to ask for advice, he could have just done it on his own, just shows that he's really grown as a person. There's just a lot here that showcases just the growth of Mob since the very beginning, and also how he handles stress as well, and that's another big key detail to, you know, Mob Psycho. I mean, the whole point of the title is Mob Psycho 100, and 100 represents his stress level. When it reaches 100%, he explodes. And we have seen this on many occasions where, you know, Mob explodes with emotion, rage, and all that. And with the Dimple scene a few episodes back, we saw Mob, you know, explode in a different way. He basically was able to just let it die off into a whimper of anger, and he didn't actually want to do anything to Dimple. He was able to handle his stress in a very mature way, and you can see that just the way this episode is done. There's another way that shows that Mob has learned to, you know, be able to kind of get used to his emotions, not let it build up and explode. He is able to convey how he feels better, and, like, or how he feels about a given moment, and I love everything about this episode. And like I said, you can really feel the strings, like the whole strings that's kind of been, like, driving us into a certain direction, that it's about to come to a close. The curtains are about to close, and Mob Psycho 100 is going to end. It's a very sad feeling, because, like, this right here is just, like, such a big moment for the story. Mob's in a life or death situation, and this obviously is going to decide the outcome of his life right here, right now. Like, for not just, like, if he's going to survive this, which once again, I do believe he's going to survive this A-okay. Will there be ramifications from this? Definitely. The thing, though, is that because he got hit, you know, you're probably going to have it to where he's going to maybe go into a coma. That's a possibility. Like, Mob could go into a coma, he might be unconscious for a while, which could result in him not being able to ever see, Takane leave. She'll just leave in, like, a month's time or whatever, and he won't ever get to really say goodbye to her. Like, he skips out on going on a brief little date in the park with her, and, he's not able to say goodbye to her. That is a 100% possibility, or not 100%, like, a 98% chance of happening, okay? Like, that 100%, or, I don't know why I keep saying 100%, it's because Mob Psycho 100, but it's like, it's 90% to 98% possible that could happen with the story. Obviously, there is a different direction it could go, but the point is that whatever happens here, it's going to make or break if Mob is going to be with her or not. And that's kind of been one of the big plot threads going on for a very long time. It's not about Mob achieving unlimited power with his psychic abilities. It's him wanting to be with Takane. And the whole reason, like, the drive of the story, like, I think that one of the big things that people might forget about, the whole drive of the story here, like, at the beginning of the story here, is that, like, the Body Improvement Club. He joined the Body Improvement Club just to be able to be more attractive for, Takane, to be able to notice him, for he could be with her. And so when you think about the entire situation, all of this stuff that he's been doing throughout the series, basically since season 1, has been to finally confess to her, and all of this is finally about to happen. So the question is, does she care for him, or does she not? That is the genuine question here. So I think that just the maturity of Mob Psycho 100, episode 9 here, is honestly just so beautiful. Like, this is legitimately such a great episode. I would put this on par with the Dimple episode, with the beautiful Dimple send-off, and I want to talk about that, because I know many of you are probably going to question me for that opinion, because obviously when you look at that episode with Dimple, and when you look at this episode, there's night and day in terms of, like, the way they're done. Like, if we look at the Dimple episode, it's very action-heavy and all that, and it's a very beautiful sequence of events, and then also it's very heavy on the character development as well for Dimple, and even, Mob. But I feel like this one is on par with it, not because it has beautiful fights or animation, but because this is the culmination of multiple episodes, multiple seasons building up for this very moment, and it's the payoff. It is the payoff for everything that has been building up towards this, and this payoff obviously is very worth it. This is a very great episode to really just show what we've been waiting for a very long time. So yeah, it really sucks, honestly, that we're going to have to say goodbye to the story. Like, seeing these characters as well, like, this is a very beautiful moment. Just seeing people, like, helping out Mob or giving him flowers like this. It's just, stuff like this really just shows all these little interactions he's had with people throughout the series has really mattered. He's done a lot of good in the world, and he's helped people, and he's become also more accepting of his psychic abilities. Like, this moment right here is also very beautiful, which is a big moment before, he gets into the accident. He uses his psychic abilities to save this cat, and even though this is very little in the grand scheme of things, technically, with whatever we've seen from the story so far, this is a big deal. He uses his psychic abilities instantly without having to think about it if he should or shouldn't, etc. He just instantly stops the car, saves the cat, doesn't second guess himself, and he has 100% confidence in this moment. It's once again another beautiful depiction of just how much he has developed, and I love Mob Psycho for this. And this is why One is a really great writer, and why I've always loved his work on Mob Psycho to also One Punch Man. He's just really good at writing characters, really good at writing emotional moments. Even though he puts a lot of comedy into it, there is definitely some really huge amounts of character development and characterization. Like, it's a giant ocean you can dive into. So just simply beautiful. This is just simply a beautiful episode, and I honestly, I'm gonna miss this. I'm really gonna miss this when this comes to an end, because I can feel it, man. Like, this right here is just, this just says enough. Like, we're just a few episodes away, and it all is over. I guess I'm gonna leave it at that. If you enjoyed the video, do leave me a like. It does help me out a lot. But with that, be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.